Welcome back, everybody, to Maniacal Musings. I'm your host, Jeremy, as always, back after being, bound too long by the angels. They like to tie me up. I don't get it. Especially that forsaken Jillian. But who am I kidding? I'd give my heart to take her high and low. I would. I'll stand my ground though through it all, through a loop of loss, until she sees who I am. Going after her. Swear to God. My co-host, though, she'll give you an exercise and a half of unchanging true grit with broken glass. They say she has a dangerous mind, but that's just said by the ones she destroyed. And it's the fear they have of seeing her weapons of mass distortion. Jamie motherfucking Fuller.
Hey, I'm super glad to be here and talk about these albums today. So I'm happy the time has come.
Yes, finally the time has come, folks. I know it's not our usual night, but it's our usual place, so get used to it. And we'll be back Tuesday as normal, so with the next episode, so no worries. But let me introduce our guest. Very happy to have her on. Our guest today is Jennie Dickenson. Folks, she's a poet. She's an artist, conservationalist. I probably could say a few more words that end in "ist," but I'm not going to. How's it going tonight, Jennie?
I'm well, and how y'all doing?
Doing all right.
I say I'm pretty good, but now I want to be an ist too. Like, I'm gonna have to figure out what I'm gonna do to become an ist. Mouthyist? No, that's still not fun.
You're a conversationalist.
There you go.
We could do that. I'm liking this vibe. Okay, let's go with it.
Conversationalist podcast.
Yeah, there we go.
Podcastist. Creating a word. Podcastist.
What was that like when you messed up one of the other words back in the day, Jeremy? You still do it now? I can't remember what it is right now, but it was super fun because we all do it still.
Pick a word. I mess up a lot of words commonly. But pick a word. I don't fucking know. But Jennie, why don't you tell the folks a little more about what it is that you actually do? Because I mean, what I said was very vague and doesn't really describe shit. So, what is it you actually do?
Well, I have a day job that will leave unnamed just to keep roofs over my head.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a silversmith, bling bling. So I make silver jewelry, and I recently published a book of poetry. If anybody's into sad poetry.
I am a Sylvia Plath. I'm a Sylvia Plath fan, so I'm just saying.
Okay.
You'll have to send me the information on that. Absolutely would love to get
it's called Pluto in Capricorn, the poems.
All right. Where are you at on there? Where can I buy it?
It's on Amazon. It was like a self-published thing.
All right.
I just decided to put all my poetry out at once that I've been collecting for years.
Respect. I respect it. And I like the title. I mean, Pluto in Capricorn. It sounds like Greek mythology, and it's fucked up one way. But because Greek mythology is fucked. But
so the Pluto is now in Aquarius, but it was in Capricorn for 15 years, and those were pretty messed up 15 years. And I was like, okay, look at all this poetry I wrote between then and there. Looked up my astrological chart and was like, oh, this is why I've been reading or writing sad poetry this whole time, how the whole thing affected me. But hopefully now we're in the clear. I hope I won't have to write more sad poetry.
High hopes, but we'll see.
We'll see.
Not getting into that anymore, folks, because I don't want to lose my show. But Amin, my brother, what up? Glad to see you watching. Former guest, folks, great rapper. And yeah, of course, I'm still grinding, keeping up the dope content. Come on, man, it's me. I don't stop grinding on this shit. But and also, did I see in your profile you're a snake wrangler?
Yeah, I used to go catch snakes for science, and we had like 14 snake traps, and I'd check them once a week, and sometimes you'd open it, and there'd be a 5-foot long rattlesnake in there. And so I would get the snakes out and I would tag them so that when we recaptured them, we could scan them. And just be careful not to get bit by the venomous ones. But the non-venomous, we would just handle them and let them bite us. It's fine.
No big deal. Just, a little snake nibbles. That's all.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. I don't know how you do that.
No. Yeah, I was gonna say, you got bigger balls. You got bigger balls than I do. I ain't fucking going. I ain't going within 10 feet of a fucking snake. I don't care how venomous it is.
Right. Recently I shot a raccoon. I'm up to 4 raccoons that I've got because they've been trying to move into my house. So I've been shooting those little bastards.
Damn it, Bobby, bringing Bandit in the house. But yeah, got poor raccoon, poor raccoons. I get it. I think I got a couple squirrels in my fucking roof. I gotta get out, but I don't know how the hell they do it. So working on that. But
yeah,
gotta get a live trap, so I can go set them free in New Hampshire. But well, what album did you want to bring us? And I am truly curious the answer to this one this week because it's a fascinating choice, I'll say at least.
Well, it took me a long time to figure out which one is my favorite. But I had to think back to what I always listen to and go back to, and that is The Will to Death by John Frusciante. And John Frusciante isn't well known on his own. He's most known for being the guitarist for Red Hot Chili Peppers.
I saw that.
He has a bunch of solo works. And in the year 2004, he put out 6 albums. And that was very exciting year in my life. I was in high school, and I was all very excited about the next one, that was coming out. And so I got all 6 of them. But that one has been my favorite go-to for this whole time.
I was in high school then too. So yeah, I was a.
What, 2006 you said, or 2004? Oh, okay, no, yeah. I just graduated high school, so
yeah. Now us as one of us youngins, I was junior in high school that year, I believe. But went into junior that year. But yeah, no, well, who I want to go first on this one? Screw it, I'll go first. These albums are so different in genres that I can't even freaking try to make a match of which was which. But
they all were from 2004. I noticed.
I did that on purpose, and I'll explain that when I get to mine. But yeah, I'll say when I first started sampling this album to try to find one for me to match it with, if I looked them the freak up first and read the Chili Pepper thing, I would have gladly brought Red Hot Chili Pepper album because I got a few I've been waiting to bring on, but I remiss. I was like, all right. I really don't know what to compare this guy to. I had a few ideas in my head, but I was like, I do not know who to compare this guy to. Even I'm like, he's different. When I first heard it, I was like, this guy's kind of gothic. I kind of dig it, that opinion changed later when I actually listened to the whole album. But he's not so much gothic. But just the first few samples I heard were gothic-ish. But so I was like, all right. I'm like, let's check out this guy and hear his music. I never heard him solo. Of course, I heard him play guitar on Chili Peppers, but I never heard him solo. And it was different. I mean, the closest CD I've had listened to for this show I can compare him to is Leonard Cohen, in a way. I can compare him to that. Kind of his song style is kind of like that, but he likes to tell tales in his music. And Mr. Frusciante, or however you say his name, he led some interesting tales. I mean, I'm not gonna lie and say I love the album. I could definitely listen to. I could listen to it. I think I put a couple of the songs into my Spotify list, but I can't say I listened to the whole album again. It was definitely good. I mean, I've heard way worse in the show, way worse. And we'll get to that later on in the show, maybe. But yeah, I mean, it's just I don't know. I really don't. I'm kind of at a loss of how to describe my feelings for him. It's kind of in the middle. I don't want to say I don't like him, and I don't want to say I love him. I'm kind of in the middle. It's good music. It's good music. I mean, his lyrics are really on point, and I can relate to some of his songs, so I get it. When I was in high school, I probably would have dug him a lot more because I probably had a lot more emotions back then. Getting older kind of killed those emotions, but so I don't know. Well, yeah, I really am just at a loss for this one, but I did enjoy it somewhat. If I had to give it a ranking out of 5 stars, as we typically do now, I'd probably give it a 2.5 out of 5. Put it at the halfway mark because I really don't know which way to go with it. So I'll be fair with it. I'm not gonna give it no 1 star or something like that. Save that for later maybe. But Jamie, what did you think of John?
Well, I wasn't sure what to think at first because I was starting to listen to it during one of my tasks at work. And so some of my machines get a little loud here and there. So I was re-listening to the album and not trying to dissect it by any means or anything like that, but I did read up on him and read up about the album and the whole 6 album goal, and this was one. And it's opposite of the other album of his, The Shadows Collide with People. I listened to a little bit of that, but I went right back to this stuff again because I just felt like it was something I needed to stay on track with to understand it a little bit more. I didn't mind the album. I don't have favorites or anything out of it, but I did give it a 2.5 out of 5 stars because I'm like, it's something that I can maybe listen to a little bit again. It gave me some like Bob Dylan vibes here and there. I think some of the lyrics, some of the things that he has said really stuck with me. Like I just in my notes in general, I enjoyed noting down some of the things that he said about being willing to die instead of the will to live. I really kind of like that perspective, that the different look into it. So it kept my attention on that. That is definitely for sure.
Yeah. That he put out on his blog a long time ago a whole thesis essay about the will to death and how it's a creative act. And I went and found it. It was kind of interesting. I actually had to use this old website crawler because I went to his website and he deleted all his blog posts.
I was going to say I couldn't even find his website. It wouldn't go for me.
Yeah. So I found this project. What was it called? It was like this website crawler or something where people have gone all over the internet and snapshotted a bunch of websites in case something like this happens. And I thought that was a cool resource. And so cool. I ended up finding his old website snapshots of it. And yeah, it was interesting it was a really hard read. To read his thesis, but yeah, that's one of the things that has always brought me back to the album is that, you know, it's like you have to have the will to death to be creative, to keep living, you know, because this positive force is nothing without the negative behind you. And I'm glad you listened to a little bit of Shadows Collide with People. That's a really interesting, strange one. There's the studio version, and then there's the acoustic version, and I love the acoustic version. Yeah, he's got some interesting stuff, strange stuff. He's got some really early albums where, you know, you could tell he was like strung out on heroin doing crazy stuff. Yeah. And they're pretty
as all the greats
too.
were.
Yeah. And I just love it, you know. It's something to always come back to. I really like the song The Will to Death, and my other favorite song on there is The Past Recedes. And I like the lyricism in there. The past recedes, and I won't be forgot. So, you know, some of them are kind of slow and sad. The days have turned away from me. That one is, you know, I guess you guys didn't have the particular trauma in high school that I did, that I had to have this as my favorite album.
No, like I said, if I was in high school and I heard this album, it might have had different impacts on me because I definitely had some trauma in high school. I definitely had some. I mean, nothing compared to what a lot of kids have these days, but I had some trauma. I ain't gonna try to get no sob story going here, but definitely had some trauma. So I mean, I would have maybe hit it a little bit. I mean, there's a lot of music that I discovered in high school that I know about nowadays. It might have been a whole different story. I liked a lot of bands I have to listen to nowadays, like Fall Out Boy and other bands that's similar. If I actually had listened to them in high school, but I didn't get into that stuff. My high school music I was introduced to heavy metal in high school, and it kind of stuck there for a long time. So that's a whole nother story. That's using angry music to get the anger out of you. So that's a whole nother story. But
that's fighting fire with fire.
And it works usually. It usually works. And now people ask me, why does this music make you happy? I'm like, oh, if you only knew, if you only knew. But well, were those your top 5 that you just gave us, or am I mistaken?
The Days Have Turned Away From Me, The Will to Death. I really like Wishing. The third track, Time Runs Out. And then the first song, A Doubt. I don't know.
Yeah, the opener wasn't bad. I will say that. It's not on my list, but the opener wasn't bad. And I mean, I only got 5 out of this. I made myself pick 5 that I liked more than the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask me why I like most of these, I can't tell you because I literally listened to this on Monday and it's been 5 days since then. Because I thought if we did this on Tuesday, I would have a little more recollection. I meant to listen to the album again today, but I just didn't have the time to.
Mm-hmm.
But my number 5 was An Exercise. I think that was very well done, and because the track sounds like it's an exercise of some kind. So I mean, musically at least. So it was interesting. My number 4 was The Days Have Turned. That was a really good song. The lyrics in that one really were appreciated. And number 3 was A Loop, because I love that he called it a loop, and the drum work on it is incredible. Like the drum loop on it is incredible. So I like the synchronicity in that.
Mm-hmm. The drummer Josh Klinghoffer is the drummer on that, and he's done a lot of projects with John through the years. So he appears on a lot of his albums.
Okay. I mean, the drummers. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. All the instruments in his band are really well done. They're really well done. And him being a guitarist, I could understand why the guitar is amazing on pretty much every song he does. But I couldn't find fault in the guitar at all. Really, I could find fault in other things, but the guitar I really couldn't find any good fault in. But my number 2 was Unchanging. I like the metaphor behind that one for life. It's very well done. The lyrics on that were perfect in my mind. And my number 1, my number 1 should be everybody's number 1 in a way, because it's something everybody has to deal with. Loss. So, I mean, it hit home. It hit home really hard, and I was like, I like this song. I actually like this song a lot. So, I'm like, that's definitely my number 1. There's nothing else that's knocking that down. So, and nothing else did. So, but like I said, I'd have better recollection of all these if I actually listened to it again today, but I didn't get a chance to. And he just doesn't stick in my head that well. That's the problem. I could hear him, I could hear his style, I could hear his voice in my head, but I just can't put it all together at this point because I haven't heard it in 5 days. But definitely, I'm happy I listened to it. I'm happy I got to experience it once at least. But if someone brings one of his other albums on at some point in the show, because it's always possible, then I'll experience some more of him, of course. And I've enjoyed his work on Chili Peppers for years and years now, so I'm not gonna lie about that. But Jamie, what were your top 5 for John?
Well, as mentioned, I don't really have ranking on it. I had a hard time ranking something that I'm not against or that I'm not excited about. Just something that they all had something unique to them. There was some sort of like a reminder with the lyrics or with the beats. Like the first song, A Doubt, for me, I felt like that started off the album good. So I really like the way that started off. But then A Loop gives me like that 90s garage grunge vibes, like back when like Nirvana and Pearl Jam and Bush and all of them were big. Soundgarden. There's just something about it that it reminds me of when my friends and I would jam back in school. They and I was musically inclined. They better, and we would jam out to a lot of stuff. And there's just something that was kind of comforting with that song, as weird as that is. But then The Will to Death for me just had like, I was kind of shocked, like sitting there going, okay, a peppier vibe, a little bit more upbeat. Like I caught myself like just, jamming a little bit while I'm working and doing stuff. And I wouldn't have imagined that. Not saying it was like a low, slow album for me, but depending on what I'm aiming to listen for and what I'm doing, for me, that album, it started off and ended exactly as I would expect, and I enjoyed it. I just don't know how much I would listen to it on a regular, but I feel like those are those type of songs that you get in your feelings. And if I would have heard this, like, I'd say 1999 to 2000, I would have been in my feelings in this album.
Yeah.
For sure. So not a bad album. I just didn't rank any of them because I couldn't figure out which one was better than another. I liked them all. So
I mean, yeah, it was interesting for me because usually I have the issue of wanting to put too many on my list and then thinking about having to like knock down a few of them and get them all or whatnot. But this one I was just like, okay, I know which five I like. It was simple enough. It's happened before in this show, but I know which five I like. So it overall, like I said, 2.5 is not bad. There are some albums my old co-host Chancey would have brought on that I would easily have given like a 0.3 out of 5. So
you'll just have to go listen to the other 5 he did that year.
I may at some point. I trust me. There's a lot of music as in my to listen Spotify right now that I have to check out for this show and for other things. But I definitely might get into him more at some point. It's always a possibility. I'm not gonna lie. I'll check out a lot of music, including previous guests. I actually have a lot of previous guests to listen to check out more of their music because some of them are some musicians that have been in the show and rappers that have been in the show are freaking incredible. Actually, our guest last week, Kevin King, just put out a new single. What the hell is it called? I forget what it's called, but it's freaking really Fools. I don't freaking know.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, he's a good rapper. I actually really enjoy his stuff. I told him that too, but I feel like when you tell rappers that they don't...
I thought it was Fool or something, but it's fake.
That's what yes.
His single.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know. I can't get the freaking like list to go down slow enough for me to see it even. But yeah, you're right. Fakes. Fakes. I think it was. But he did a good job on that one. And
Fake by Kevin King, people.
Yes, people. His episode we're releasing a podcast for him in a couple weeks, folks. So get ready to. You'll see his link in there. Get ready to check him out. But guess it's time to go to my album and.
Oh, I want to guess which album you chose because I don't know which one either of you chose.
Oh, that's the point. I do that on purpose for reasons.
Okay.
But
okay. I have ideas.
Once I say it, I want to know if you got it right or not. But
okay.
Yeah. See, you brought an album that I couldn't find anything to match to. I had a few ideas, but I really couldn't find anything I wanted to match to it. So I'm like, all right. As always, when I don't know what the hell to match with the album the guest wants to bring on, I jump to the year it came out, and because there's always viable options in a year. So 2004 turned out to be a very busy year in music, and I brought a lot of the albums I would have brought on already on the show. So I was like, crap. I'm like, I already brought the Nightwish album that came out that year on the show. A couple others I already brought on. I'm like, God damn it, there's a lot of freaking albums. I'm like, all right, do I want to bring some 3-6? No, that's too late in 3-6 career for me to actually want to bring their albums. I'm like, I could bring ICP. I have not brought Hell's Pit on yet, but I was just like, I'm saving that for. I'm saving that for chance today.
Suspense to this, Jeremy. Let's go.
Oh, there's suspense. God damn it, there won't be suspense. But yeah, there were a lot of other options I could have brought. But then I saw this and I'm like, you know what? I don't think I ever brought. I know I brought one of this band's albums on before, like way back in the beginning, and I'm like, I haven't brought them on in a long time. I'm like, fuck it. This is one of my favorite albums I've ever done. And it's also ranked as the 5th best symphonic metal album of all time, according to some magazine in Europe. So, Metal Hammer, I think. I'm not sure. One of the big metal album magazines. But
Metal Hammer.
I'm like, I am bringing on one of my favorite groups' albums, Within Temptation's The Silent Force. Because I had to introduce, I'm like, and I don't think Jamie's heard this band before, so I got to introduce her to the great Sharon Deladell. Because that voice right there will leave 1,000 men hard every day of the week. So I had to bring the great Sharon and her band Within Temptation to this. And that face is not leaving me with hope, Jamie. But I'm oh shit. Okay. I kind of had a feeling you would. I can surprise people. My musical taste can surprise people. It really can. But dying to hear, Jenny, what did you think of Within Temptation?
All right, so Within Temptation and the album Silent Force took me down a rabbit hole. Okay, so I work night shifts and usually 12 hours of mostly time to myself, but I have to be very, very quiet and be listening to like this little baby monitor in case anybody calls me. And so I couldn't listen to it while I was at work. But I went down a crazy rabbit hole just researching the album. Went on Wikipedia and read all about it. And there's some really interesting factoids, like that they had. Here, I'll just read this to you. So they had a bigger budget than their previous albums, right? And so they had used in the past computerized orchestra sounds, but with this they had the budget to have an orchestra in Moscow, Russia record some stuff, but they were recording their own stuff in Rotterdam in the Netherlands, and the process of sending and receiving the musical files was slow and laborious due to the great size of the files and the low internet speed at the time. And I thought that was interesting. Like, oh yeah, like now it would have been like, no problem, send the file. But I thought that was cool that they actually had an orchestra in Moscow. So I knew that before I even listened to it. So I had all this in my head. And then also read that they recorded it in the summertime, but like they spent all their time indoors recording it and they were all kind of sad. And that kind of reflected in the music and the lyricism. But the really interesting thing I thought was that they said it was all based on a book called The Silent Force by Louis Marie Anne Couperus, who's one of the most famous Dutch novelists. So then I went on a whole rabbit hole learning about this Dutch novelist because I wanted to know, what is the Silent Force? It turns out this Couperus, he was born in 1863 and he died in 1923. But he has a long line of the Dutch colonialists in the East Indies. So he spent a lot of time in the East Indies himself. And, he was just descendant of that line of, conquerors of that area. And so I had to go find out what the hidden force was. And the book that he wrote was based on the life kind of his brother-in-law, who lived in the East Indies as a little kind of like a governor of the little township. And he characterized the hidden force as the hidden force that gives back, especially the enmity of the mysterious Javanese soul and atmosphere fighting against the Dutch conqueror. And called the hidden force Gona. I don't know if I'm saying it right. It denotes magic, and it's like the depth of the Eastern culture that Westerners cannot probe. And now I got to go find an English copy of this book.
Yeah, it's not easy. I was looking actually when I looked at the album myself because I was curious about it more than I already knew about it, and I was like, I didn't know it was based on a book, and I'm like, no, I want to read the damn book, but I already have 1,000 books to read, so I don't know if I'll ever get to that. But that's third world problems, and that's my problem. But what do you think of the album though? That's what I'm dying to hear.
Okay, so when I finally got to listen to it, I was like, especially just going straight into the intro, I was very impressed. I liked it a lot. It was quite dark. I was sitting out in the yard here in the depths of the hellish East Texas winter. It's not that cold, but it's cold to me. And looking at all, this dark leafless trees, it was a whole vibe. I really liked quite a few of the songs. For some reason, I really liked the intro. I know that's kind of
that's actually kind of awesome because that's something my ex co-host was known for doing, was loving intros and outros. But that was like his thing because he knew it pissed me off to no end. But he loved intros and outros. He always said a lot about an album. But and I can't wait to hear your top 5 hour in a few minutes. I really can. I'm dying to hear that. But Jamie, what did you think of Within Temptation?
I didn't dislike it. I do feel like I need more depth and growls to happen within this music, and I would have definitely been really big into it. But I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars, so I enjoyed it.
Yeah, there are other album I brought on originally. What the fuck is it called now? Oh come on, it's gonna fucking drive me nuts now. It's their, in my opinion, the other album I brought on is their best album, and it has like their top 2 of their top 5 ranked songs on Spotify on it.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh, The Unforgiving. Yeah, The Unforgiving. I would definitely recommend that one. It's a story of 6 different women. There's comic books that came out around the same time that album came out, and they like ran a whole stories with it and everything. It was freaking incredible. Chancey dug the fuck out of it when I brought it on, but it's their best album in my opinion. This album, it's a
He
definitely
did what?
he dug shit out of it. The other album I brought on for them, but I mean, this album is, I could easily say it's my second favorite album they did. I mean, there's other ones that are close, and there's like a close tie for second for a few of them, but this one is definitely has some songs on it that are some of my favorite songs by them. So it's just, this was their album that kind of launched them to being famous and to basically headlining every major music festival in Europe. They became huge because of this album. I mean, you'll become the 5th greatest symphonic metal album by Metal Hammer for no reason. I mean, I don't even know what the first is. I really gotta look that up sometime, but I feel like I might know a couple of things it could be. But to be in the top 5, and Metal Hammer is very freaking picky about what they choose in anything they do. So it's got its marks for reasons, and I love this album. I mean, there's some songs on it that I don't really like listen to often, but there's other songs I could listen to every time they come on my freaking list. But I had 3 honorable mentions for this album. Don't cry, Jamie, because I had to set 2 honorable mentions for yours, so you can't cry. But my first honorable mention was Forsaken. Second one was Destroyed. Both for the same reason. They're just really good songs, but they're not my favorites. And my number 6, or my last honorable mention, was See Who I Am, because I like the lyrics. I like what it stands for. I mean, these songs are depressing, which kind of hits home a lot with me, so I enjoy the shit out of them. My number 5 was Stand My Ground. I mean, I can go to instrumentals in every one of these, but the instrumentals in all their songs are fucking glorious. Their guitar players are always incredible. Their drums are always incredible. And Sharon's voice is just one of the best metal voices out there, in my opinion. I love operatic metal, and she freaking can nail opera. She actually has done things with a couple Nightwish singers that I am huge fans of, and when the two of them get together, it's always just pure gold. But my number 4 was It's the Fear, because it's a really dark song, and it's really just hits home with me. Same with number 3, A Dangerous Mind. Like, A Dangerous Mind is just such a beautiful song. It's so many great lines in it, such great guitar in it. My top 2, though, that's where it really hits home with me for this album. These are 2 of my favorite songs they've ever done. And my number 2, Jillian, I Give My Heart. The freaking operatic like background singing in it, like with the guitar, is just magic to my ears. It's a pure eargasm, because it literally just sounds like they have a full chorus singing behind them, like in it. It's freaking incredible. It's only match. The only song I like better than that song by them is one of the songs in The Unforgiving. That's the only, and that's a totally different genre and vibe even. So I mean, but Jillian is just an amazing symphonic metal song altogether. My number 1 in this album, though, and I didn't think it'd be my number 1. I thought Jillian would be, but my number 1 has to be Angels, because it's the most beautiful song on this album by far. I mean, it starts off slow, and I'm not a big fan of the beginning of it, but once it gets into that chorus and it gets into the freaking breakdown, it's just like, I'm just like, hold my damn beer. Like, I'm going to the fucking mosh pit with this shit. I'm going into the mosh pit. But and yes, they have mosh pits. If you watch any concert they do, they have fucking people moshing their brains out in the freaking pit.
The orchestra.
They don't do live. They don't do
inflatable arm guy. Is all that is.
They do not do live shows with orchestras. Usually, they have done it in the past. They have live albums with orchestras behind them, but they don't typically do at festivals. They don't bring a whole orchestra. Just like a lot of the bands, they just have that part on tape. But it's if you watch any other concert videos and see Sharon Dell perform too, though, she puts so much emotion into her performances that it's just and I mean, she's gorgeous. I ain't gonna be a sexist here, but she's fucking gorgeous. I mean, I don't think that's sexist.
I got a question for you. How many of the guys in the band do you think she slept with? Because I think she slept with all of them.
I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised.
She got a lot of stuff and a lot of feelings and a lot of emotion going on. It seems like it's very close to her.
Put it this way. In my favorite song by them, wow, how did I feel blank on that? It's a freaking thing. Oh, Sinead. My favorite song by them, Sinead. If you watch the music video, her drummer's literally in a gimp suit. So I mean, there's definitely something going on in the background of that band. But
yeah,
there's definitely something going on in that band. I mean, it's symphonic metal. There's a lot of emotion in it, and a lot of the band's members sleep with each other in different bands. That's just the way it goes. I mean, it's emotional music. But
and they put platinum in Germany.
Most of the bands I listen to went platinum in Germany at some point or in Finland.
Yeah, they're always angry over there. This one's like, blah.
Alright.
Oh yeah, tell us how you feel.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's my thing is I did give it 3 out of 5 stars, but probably like Chansey, I really don't care for the album, only because I can handle so much of her singing, but there's where my mind goes with this album is where it could be like Aquarius, the bass and the drums that are in that. It just makes me want for some deeper, harder bass and some really freaking like growls to go with it. Like to have both her singing with that in that song particularly is what I was like on the edge of my seat for. And when it didn't happen, I was freaking disappointed.
Well, Jamie, I will give you a slight bit of homework because they put out an album back in 2019 called Resist. It's got kind of like an apocalyptic future feel to it. And Jacoby Shaddix is on the main song from that album with her. So if you want the ground,
I've listened to some of the other music and stuff, but I mean, it's just this album though. I'm not completely sold. I keep getting the Evanescence, Amy Lee vibes, and I keep getting.
It's hilarious. You said that.
2004 is like a timing. I wasn't listening to this kind of music, but back on track to the album.
I mean, trust me.
I did not give any rankings. I did not rank anything on this. Memories was a good jam. Kind of seems like your normal cliche. That's their first single that gets released to the radio. You know, that's like the thing that kind of catches the radio waves and the billboards first is how I felt when I heard it. But I got kind of drowned out by it. Won't lie. Forsaken, I enjoyed the rhythm guitar, the hooks into the chorus. Overall, good message to the song. I think I did really enjoy Our Greed Just Made Us All Go Blind. I do really like that lyric. Because I feel like there was a lot of things I could have taken and applied those lyrics to in my life besides what she was talking about. But I do have to say my favorite one, because I only have 4 songs I'm talking about from this album, is because it sounds like a Roman Reigns WWE entrance to the stage is Jillian, I'd Give My Heart. I felt like I needed to walk in with as the tribal chief and just tell everybody who to freaking acknowledge and to acknowledge that this is not the bestest album ever, Jeremy, but I'm not completely hating on it. Not completely.
You almost got to sing Clown Posse, so don't complain.
Listen, in 2004, I wasn't listening to even the album I pulled up for my choice today. I was listening to like Marilyn Manson and a bunch of other stuff.
I almost wanted to bring Manson, but it wasn't a full album. It was the EP. It was Remix and Repent, and I'm like, I'm not bringing that album.
Yeah.
No. I'm not bringing a fucking album of Manson's remixes because I'm good on that. But if it was one of his, it was after all his big albums came out, his first trilogy, so no, it wouldn't have worked. But
right.
Speaking Go ahead.
I was going to say, speaking of Manson, I just saw that he's been cleared of all the accusations that they've been putting on him.
Yes.
Oh boy.
I did see that.
Newsflash.
And he's actually coming to Massachusetts in May on his next tour this year for his new album. And I said to my coworker the other day, I'm like, "You want to go see Manson?" And I'm like, "Let's go. I want to see Manson." I missed out my chance to see him in high school because I was supposed to go see him. I'll see him in Slayer in New York City in Times Square, but my parents wouldn't let me go because I was 16 and they want me driving to the city by myself. So, fucking dicks. But I mean, I could see Manson. I could see Manson Slayer. It was the concert of a lifetime
in Times Square.
Yeah, I've seen Manson with so many different people. I enjoy his shows.
I've yet to get to see him, and I'm pissed about that. I mean, I haven't seen Slayer either, but I'm not a lot less pissed about that one. But I still would love to see Manson. I did make it up a few years later by seeing Cradle Filth in Times Square in the same venue, so that made up for a little bit. But Manson would have been better. But Cradle Filth was amazing. Don't get me wrong. But and yeah, I could totally see what you're saying about the whole wrestling entrance with Jillian, like. That freaking chorus, like that chorus in it, like it sounds like something fucking epic. It sounds like an epic song, and that's why I love it. It's just it's such an epic background to a song. But well, Jenny, since my co-host was so rude to not let you give your top 5 first, what were your top 5?
Well, I did like Jillian. I'd give my heart for sure, and that's consensus between all three of us. And surprisingly enough, the intro. I did like Angels and Memories, but my favorite actually was the song Aquarius. I know that sounds kind of silly, but
it's not at all. I wanted to put it on my list almost, especially when I found out that it was because of it was all about her watching Jaws when she was a kid and being scared of water because of it, and that I always have fear of sharks when I was younger too from watching Jaws, and like I always have fear of like oceans. I still don't go in oceans unless I can see the bottom, but that's just like a fear of mine because of fucking sharks. I mean, and I'm damn right to be scared by sharks because everybody should be scared of sharks. They're fucking natural predators. God damn it, we don't belong in the water. They do. So just saying it.
Well, I liked it. It just seemed very poetic. And I have a poem in my book that's called The Aquarian Season. I like it. I liked it. People mention different, constellations and things like that. I could feel it. But honestly, for a rating, I give it a 3 out of 5 stars.
It ain't their best album. I'll say that straight out. But I mean, it's what got them famous, so it has to have some merit to it.
Yeah. If I'm ever feeling like I wanted to feel, I'd go find myself dark place and listen to it again.
They have happier albums and they have albums that are just as dark, and they go back and forth. That's just however they're feeling at that moment when they record. But it is what it is, and I will say whenever I hear Aquarius, I think of that song. It's the Age of Aquarius, Let the Sun Shine In. But I go back to my 60s vibes with that shit. But and then the 40-year-old version. But that's me. Jamie, it's that time finally. What album did you want to bring in? For God's sake, why the fuck?
Because there was too many other albums I was thinking about that I was vaguely interested in around the 2004 timing. There was nothing hitting genre or whatever that was close to either one of your guys's. So I just went with the year, and I went with the fact that it had done a lot of featured soundtracks for Need for Speed, Donkey Kong, CSI, Blade, Trinity, all sorts of stuff. So Crystal Method, Legion of Boom. I remember hearing some of these songs back at that timing, so it was kind of something familiar to me. So it was just kind of like a random choosing right there. No rhyme or reason behind it, just something different, something I don't always listen to, something that has I don't know, it was upbeat. It just gave me kind of a little hump in my steps. So
yeah, it took me straight back to high school.
Right. right, like early high school for me. So I'm just like, I could jam out and count my money at work or do my dishes at home and do whatever it is. And I'm just kind of like chilling with it. So I don't know. I went for it. Just something different.
Well,
Just
before I get into my review of it, oh, I can't wait. But before I get into my review of it, what did you think of Legion of Boom, Jenny?
Well, I really appreciated being taken a little walk down memory lane. I used to hear that everywhere. I actually grew up in Nevada, and Legion of Boom is a band out of Las Vegas, Nevada. So, Crystal Method, not that the band is out of Las Vegas. And I remember seeing like shows for them, and I didn't actually go to the shows, but I had friends who were going, and always like, I wish they didn't get big. I used to see them here or there, and it was small, and I was like, okay, well that's cool. Like, yeah, I really liked it. Just being reminded. I probably won't listen to it much again.
I don't blame you. I probably won't either.
But it was like fun to just listen to it straight through and just be like, oh man.
Yeah, even if
I
it just takes back for a moment, it's kind of nice to just like have that moment and call it good. But then it makes you stop and go, I need to pay attention to more music that's in the background of TV shows and movies and other stuff. Because I'm just like, duh, of course I've heard this before. Like,
they had on CSI, the TV show Alias.
Yeah, the Alias, Blade Trinity, Born Ultimatum.
It was on Donkey Kong, the game.
Yeah, Donkey Konga or something like that.
Donkey Konga. It was on like the music Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
It was on the real
I mean, in Need for Speed, I definitely remember it for Need for Speed. That was the one because one of my kiddos just like absolutely loves those movies. So it reminded me of those days for sure.
And that was interesting. That I can't remember which song, but they had Mila, how do you say her name? Mila Jovovich singing.
Mila Jovovich. Yeah.
Yeah. Which one was it? I don't remember now.
I'm pretty sure it was. I'm pretty sure it was Bound Too Long. If I'm not mistaken.
Probably. And then they also had like the guitar riffs courtesy of the Limp Bizkit guitarist Wes Borland.
Wes Borland. He was a part of it. Heck yeah. I know it's you. She did. I know it's you.
Oh yeah, true.
There's something about her in the movies back then, and the movies she was in after that, the futuristic ones. It was kind of good pairing with the Crystal Method there. They did good on that one.
Oh, I think I did see them at the Opulent Temple at Burning Man, but I didn't really quite know what was going on because I was at Burning Man.
Yeah, that's true.
I was like 2011, and like I was rolling with a bunch of my friends from Nevada, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, we got to go to the Crystal Method show. It's at the Opulent Temple." It dragged me over there, and I'm like, "Wow, there are so many people." And they, of course, they go right in. They're trying to dance on up to the front. I'm sitting at the back, like, I'll watch the bikes.
I mean, all right. When I first saw what this album was, I was like, oh God, no, this is Chansey bringing me fucking more techno, fucking electronic shit. And I'm like, oh, God help me. But once I dove into the album and kind of researched where they've been, what they did and shit, I'm like, all right. I'm like, I don't really recognize them from anything I watched back in the 2000s at all. I mean, Need for Speed I think I saw it once. It was never my jam, but it wasn't Fast and Furious. Which I hate those movies with a passion now, but the first one was huge in my life because my brother was the biggest fan in the world of it. And I'm like, the Mila Jovovich one I remembered from the movie she was in because I loved her and I used to watch everything she ever did. But she's gorgeous. But overall, I ended up liking this album a lot more than I thought I would. I ended up liking it a lot more than I thought I would. A lot of these made into my like list because I was at work in between calls, answering emails, and I had this playing like right then in between calls, and it's definitely good headphone music to just like zone out to and do your work. and it's definitely good driving music. So that's why I put a lot of it on my list. Like I can enjoy if I'm out Instacarting or some shit, I can enjoy listening to this shit in the background while I'm Instacarting. But it's just electronic music is not my thing by any means. Like it's like when Chancey brought the fuck's the album with the crab.
The album with the crab.
No, they did the song "Smack My Bitch Up." I forget what the hell they're called.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Not Fatboy Slim, is it? No. Who's Smack My Bitch?
No, not Fatboy. The something. It's the something.
The Prodigy. Good lord.
Prodigy.
Yeah, the Prodigy.
Yeah, I mean, I like freaking Crystal Method way better than the Prodigy. I'll say that much. But because the Prodigy only had like a couple good songs on that album, but it's this album definitely had more of my style to it. And I mean, I would like you're saying with my album, we want more growls and shit. I would enjoy this album if there was heavy metal freaking singers on top of it. Like bring in a bunch of different heavy metal singers and have them do shit on top of your songs. Maybe they did an album like that at some point. I don't know, but they could have. I don't know. But that's what I would want with this music. Is like I would want like heavy metal singers on top of it because then it'd be my jam. Then it like almost if they did like Linkin Park and Skrillex's like joined album. Like that was amazing because it was what it was. Or not Linkin Park or Skrillex, Korn and Skrillex. What the fuck am I thinking? But yeah, they did like the Korn Skrillex type combination with this band. Like it'd be pretty fucking incredible. So
yeah, Linkin Park did a mashup with Jay-Z.
Yeah, I hate that shit. I hate that shit. I hate that shit. They ruined the best fucking song Linkin Park ever did by putting Jay-Z on it. They ruined the best song they ever did. But that's my opinion. But yeah, if they did like the Korn thing, I would have fucking enjoyed this album a lot more. But I did enjoy it. I got 2 honorable mentions of it, so I can't say I didn't. I hated it. If I had to rank it, I'd probably give it a fucking maybe a 2.5 out of 5. I mean, it's just not. It's not music I would go listen to every day of the week. Not by any means, but if it pops up while I'm driving or something, I'm not going to turn it off unless I'm in a shitty mood. But
the question is if you were at Burning Man, would you go see them?
If I was at Burning Man, I'm pretty sure I would have no recollection of what the hell I saw. So. I'm pretty sure if I was at Burning Man, I wouldn't even remember I was at Burning Man. So I mean, that's just me. But I'd be having fun, and that's my bucket list. Burning Man's my bucket list by far. Even though the bands that go to it nowadays are fucking jokes, but I would definitely still love to go to just the concert in general. But
you might be surprised who you see there. Secret concert.
I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't. But Jamie, your album. What were your top 5 off it?
Okay. So this I actually had a top 5. Not necessarily in this order, except for the last song and the first song for sure. So number 5, Realizer. That damn song, I'd be walking around going Realizer, synthesizer, like just getting it stuck in my damn head and smacking stuff as I'm walking by because I'm pissed and I'm singing it, but it's catchy. The American Way, number 4, I guess that wasn't too bad. Made me feel like they wanted to like collaborate with a country artist and they didn't get their way, so they just made their own song. And I didn't mind it.
I didn't like that song at all, but yeah.
And then, but then this is number 3. This is one like Jeremy mentioned, where you can listen to it when you're driving down the road. I'm not necessarily going to change it because I'm going to get lost in this song while I'm driving on a long road trip, and it's True Grit.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, Acetone. I just enjoyed it and I enjoy the name. I think it works. But number 1, it just the beats got me moving. It's the type that I can jam out doing projects, going OCD nuts like I do at times. Burn Too Slow. I enjoyed it. That was a good time.
See, this is one of those things where I wish Chancey was my co-host. I would so put that in his intro that he was born too slow.
You're saying that as you got stuff in your beard right now. Shut the fuck up. Born too slow.
I mean, I get shit stuck in my beard every day of the week. Thank you.
Bet you do.
Fucking no, because I can't go as hard with my intros as I could with Chancey because I knew I could make fun of him to the degree and he wouldn't give a fuck. I don't want to hurt your feelings, sweetie. But Jenny, what were your top 5 for the Legion of Boom? Which I will say I love that name of the album because I have a feeling they're like Legion of Doom, Legion of Boom. Like as a comic book nerd, I'm like they definitely were coming up Legion of Doom.
We had a project group name of Legion of Boom before, so it's pretty epic. I have to say, it's an epic name.
I'm with Jamie. I liked Realizer. Starting Over, the first one. I don't know why, but I like that. Weapons of Mad Distortion. I know that one's a really popular one. I really like that. But my top one was Acetone. And like, for some reason, I love any song that has the word acetone in it, acetone in the title, anything, you know. If it's acetone or glycerin, I like
it. And can you say it normal, or do you have to sing it like Bush?
Glycerin.
Yeah.
Well, I actually use acetone a lot when I'm making jewelry.
True.
And so
true.
I don't know. Like, I'm like, ooh, acetone. Okay. It's my, my favorite little chemical.
See,
I like it. I like it.
I think of acetone is almost like, and I'm thinking of, damn, that acetone. But that's just my opinion. But see, like I said, I had two honorable mentions for this album because it was a decent album. The opening track I liked at first, and then it kind of fucking went in the wayside. I was like, I don't like it. But my first honorable mention is High and Low. I just kind of like the back and forth between like them going fast and slow with it. Like it was kind of cool. And my number 6 was Born Too Slow. I did like that song to some degree. My number 5 was Broken Glass. Even though I was highly disappointed because I expected to hear like the whole. I was like, they did a Stone Cold theme song, and then I was like, God damn it, no, they didn't. But
that's true. I'd have one WWE song. You had one.
That's but my number 4 was Weapons of Mass Distortion because that was a fucking amazing song, and I like the idea. I like the play on words with the whole Weapon of Mass Destruction thing, especially in 2004. That was right on point. But my number 3 was Realizer because it reminded me of some Power Man 5000 shit where it's like a techno beat with like that rap over it. So I enjoyed the fuck out of that.
You just opened up a mind wormhole. I forgot about Power Man 5000.
Man, they were hot back in like 99. That was like the beginning of my high school years. Static X, Mushroom Head, all of them.
No, my co-host brought a Power Man 5000 album on from the early 90s at one point, so that's one reason I really even know who they are. But
oh my god, yeah.
I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that stuff.
I'm gonna add some right now.
But my number 2 was True Grit because I was like, ooh, I'm like, I love the movie that's called True Grit, so let's see how the song is. And the drum beat in that song was fucking incredible. So I'm like, all right, True Grit's right on the top of the list. Like the drum beat was fucking insane. But my number 1, nobody else mentioned my number 1. I'm like, what the fuck? My number 1 is like the fucking best song of the album by far. And it's Bound Too Long. It had like the most gothic techno beat to it. And I was like, this is the song I'd be dancing in the club to, shirtless with glow sticks, my body sparkling, all that good shit. Like, fucking bring it on. Bring it on. Like, I will be shirtless in the club dancing this shit. Like, Bound Too Long, like, that's sex music. That's sex music right there.
Let me know when you go to Burning Man. I want to see you dancing covered in glitter naked to that song.
Do you, though? Because, I mean, you're asking for a high order, and I will deliver, and no one wants to see that, I'm pretty sure. But well, we think swaying, folks, and more than one. Just saying. But, yeah, no. Bound Too Long was a fucking incredible song. I fucking dug the shit out of that. We just did top goth songs of all time bracket on this show a couple months ago, and I'm still in like my goth feels from that shit. So when I heard Bound Too Long, I was like, "Ooh!" I'm like, I can see the goth kids on South Park dancing to this shit. Come on now, but because that's how I rate goth music. If I can see the goth kids on South Park dancing to it, it's goth music.
Yeah.
But I'm a very peculiar man. What can I say? But well, folks, we have brought you these albums thrice, as always. In the usual hour, as always. You're welcome. I don't like to make my listeners listen too long, even though we've done some 2.5-hour episodes. Thank you, CJ Plain. But we will be back on Tuesday, as always, with our regular scheduled episode. And this guest coming up on Tuesday is actually interesting. I can't wait to have him on. He's a friend of a previous guest who's on his label, because a previous guest started a label, so fuck. But and they reached out asking if this guy could be on. I'm like, fuck yeah, of course you can. I don't turn anybody away usually, but we'll see. You'll see who that is on Tuesday. His album choice is going to have me probably flipping shit, but we'll see. We'll see. But Jennie, we want to thank you for coming on. It's been a fucking fun time. As I knew it would when I saw your profile, I'm like, oh, she's gonna be fun. I could tell already. This snake wrangling poet. Fuck yeah.
Burning Man goer. Yeah. Well, thank you for having me. This has been a lot of fun. And I really enjoyed all the learning about this new album I've never heard, and then taking a little walk down memory lane. And I'm glad I could introduce you guys to some John Frusciante.
Yeah, that was definitely a fun, unique one for me.
Subjective, guys.
I love when it's artists I've never heard of. Like that's always the best part about the show. If it's someone I heard of, I know what to expect. If it's someone I never heard of, I always am in for maybe a treat, maybe just a surprise. But it's always fun regardless, so it doesn't freaking matter. Mm-hmm. But Jennie, where can they find you and everything you do? Promote anything you want to promote. Where can they find your poetry book? Where can they find everything?
Well, I have a website. It's elidascope.com. You see my middle name, Elida Scope, a play on kaleidoscope, elidascope.com. You all could go check out my handmade jewelry. And it's rather priced cheap because I need to sell it to keep the roof over my head. And it'd be awesome if anybody wanted some cool stuff. It's all silver, and it'll last a lifetime. And it costs less than going to Whataburger or some other fast food place. And then my book is for sale on my website, but you can also get it on Amazon.com. The title of the book is Pluto in Capricorn, the Poems. And maybe I'll be a bestseller list sometime. I don't know.
It's possible. It's always possible, but...
When I first published the book, I was on the little chart and they had it labeled for some reason as erotic Western. Western. So if that piques your interest.
I mean, some people that follow me are into Bigfoot erotica. So, I mean, who knows?
Oh my gosh, I've never even heard of that.
Okay.
Oh, if you ever want to go down a rabbit hole, search Bigfoot erotica on Amazon. Oh my God, there are so many fucking books.
Oh, I don't know if I want to. I had a Bigfoot movie filmed here in Trinity. They filmed at my house. It was
Which one?
It's coming out this year.
Oh.
In the summer. It's called The Beast of Trinity, Texas.
I will have...
Okay.
I got a question for you after the show, but okay. I will definitely. I have a fucking Bigfoot movie bracket for my other show, for God's sake. So yeah, I'm a paranormal podcaster, so Bigfoot is right in my fucking alley. But
yeah,
and
he's real.
I have no doubt in my fucking mind that he's real. The government's just keeping shit quiet.
Don't even start him on that.
He's real. He's real. But Jamie, where can they find you if you want to be found?
Well, fuck around and find out. It's always how you find me. But other than that, you can find me on the Book of Faces. I was on TikTok until all that stuff happened, and I don't have it on my phone anymore. Snapchat. You can find me on Bracket Bastards. I'm usually a couple times a month there. Otherwise, I'm here every week for the Maniacal Music Musings. But basically, you can just find me hanging out with my weighing out. I don't do a whole heck of a lot these days, folks. I'm getting too old for this nonsense. So start at Facebook and you'll go from there. And I got your book in my cart right now on Amazon. So I'm going to look into getting that.
Well, thank you. Awesome. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And folks, you can find both your musers in a multitude of places. I mean, the first one, the Book of Faces. There's this guy, or creature, I should say. I don't really know who he is. Squatchy Largefoot. He likes to promote my stuff and let me do live streams on his page. I don't know who it is. He swears he's a Bigfoot that was educated by aliens and his elders to speak English. I don't know. I just go with it and stream on page for fun and shits and giggles. But you can also find your musers on XXBaby and the Gram as that Juggalo Bastard. You could find us on TikTok, as long as they exist, as that Juggalo Bastard Podcast. I haven't taken it down or anything or deleted it, but I just don't do shit with it. You can also find us on YouTube as Maniacal Music Musings. The best place to see all of our episodes because switched pod servers at one point and shit got fucked. But you can see all our episodes on YouTube. Back all 110 of them now, maybe? I lost track of the number, but it's 110-ish. And you can also just check us out on Parapost Network, a great home for all podcasts and podcasts. If I can actually fucking start streaming there again, because shit's been fucked on Facebook. But that's not their fault. That's Facebook. That's Facebook's fault, not their fault. So Zuckerberg,
Mark Zuckerberg.
Zuckerberg, get your shit together, man. Come on, man, get your shit together.
Shit, get it.
And we'll be back Tuesday with a regular scheduled episode. And a week from now, in about an hour-ish, we will be doing the top 40 songs about aliens bracket provided by Ranker. So a lot of interesting music on that fucking episode. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
It's a lot. It's a lot of variety: rap, rock, metal, everything. Like holy shit! I can't wait to start listening to that playlist this week.
Okay.
But so come check it. And thank you, Lisa from the Yahoo Podcast, for picking that topic. I love you for it. But come check us out then. Until then, musers out, everybody.